Let's see here, and we're live. Hey y'all, this is David, the Georgia photographer, and today I want to do a little live stream because once again I've been working a lot more here lately and life has kind of gotten in the way and I just haven't had time to make videos for you guys. I got a couple of video ideas that I've wrote down in my little notebook I carry around with me. This has been a really cool thing to do, carrying a notebook again, and that's why there's a mechanical pencil and a mechanical eraser to go with the notebook so you can draw things. I've talked about this, but I've got some video ideas in said notebook. But today, I'm just going to talk about cameras. Just cameras, not lenses, not photography in general, things like that. Who we got? Hey, look. How you doing, Terrell? Thank you for jumping in the stream right away. That's awesome. I was going to kind of prelude it to let everybody kind of get started in here in the mornings, and normally my video drops a lot earlier. I'm gonna move this over here a little better. I've got the chat live. Good morning. Let's see here. There we go. There we go. Now, got my chat window built on the side here so that I can see what's happening. But here lately, I haven't been doing a lot of photography. I've been doing a little, and most of the time, I've been grabbing this Nikon D200, just kind of for nostalgia more than anything. Not because of one reason or the other particular, but it's kind of cool to shoot with a DSLR. I finally figured out how to get the viewfinder focused for my eye to where I don't have to wear my glasses to see through it, because using one of these with glasses, what you end up doing is you get skin oil on this little rubber bumper thing that sits over the viewfinder, and then that touches your lens and leaves a greasy spot on your lens. And if you wear glasses, you know right away how much of a headache that is. So what I tend to do is I tend to look over the top of my glasses because they sit right at my brow line, of course, so I can see over the top of them. All this range is wide open, and I can put my forehead against that, and I can look through the viewfinder with just my normal eye without my glasses in the way. And that allows me to be able to use the viewfinder and wear my glasses and not have a big greasy smudge from the viewfinder. I am fortunate in that my vision's only mildly impaired. I have an astigmatism a little bit, and I've lost my near sight vision to where I can't see to read. So mostly these are for reading. And so when I look through here, I can adjust the diopter enough to where I can see clearly through the cameras. And that's been a kind of a saving grace for that. And it allows me to operate like that. But lately, I've been thinking about it. I have 4 cameras I shoot on, and it's kind of excessive. It really is, and all of them are different, which is kind of ironic. And I would say they all have different jobs, but they really don't. Excuse me, didn't think about that. I do use certain ones for certain jobs, but they're not dedicated to said job. Yeah, if you're joining the live stream, drop me a chat. Drop a note in the chat, say hi or something. We want to propagate it out onto the web and let people know. Excuse me. Like, getting back on subject, like product photography, I try to use typically my Leica SL2 because it has a really high resolution sensor. It has a 45 megapixel sensor. I'm pretty sure it's 45. That gives me a lot of adjustment room as far as cropping and adjusting of the image to fit on the web page in different ways and things like that. Now, as far as like, let me see here. I don't really want to see that. There we go. As far as my Sacred Harp singings, I really like the ZF now. I was using the SL2 mainly because of the, because I was manual focusing the lens anyway, because mirrorless cameras won't focus the old AFD lenses. So I figured I'd just stick it on it and roll with it. Well, on the ZF, focus confirmation is so much easier. Well, let's see. Whoops. I got a question from a friend. Let's see. There, done. But I found that the focusing mode in the ZF, because there I'm trying to work, I'm kind of I'm on a clock. Okay, I only have just so much time to get the photos like I'm wanting to get as they come available. And because of that, I'm really trying. Oh, okay. Thank you. That's cool, Terrell. Thanks so much. But, I'm wanting to get the photo. I'm trying to document an event. The Sacred Heart singers are on there. Like I said, you only have so much time to get a decent shot. So I really like the focus confirmation information that I was getting with the ZF and the 105 f2. So I wound up getting the 105 f1.4, which is a Series E. It's still an F mount, but it's autofocus. So I'm curious to see, coming up at the end of the month, I'll get to test it out and see how it works. I have high hopes. I don't necessarily need f1.4 glass, but I did want f2 minimum because, venues are dimly lit. But I'm curious to see how well that actually works for what I'm going to do. I don't know what the deal is. There we go. Now I sound better. But the SL2 worked fine for that, and I used it for a long time. Now, I have all my cameras laying here on the bed behind me so that I can get to them easily. But here recently I'm going to go ahead and we'll jump into this right away because this is the star of the show right now. The Nikon ZF is kind of one of my all-time favorite cameras. Doesn't matter what lens. Right now it's got the 50 f1.8s because that's a wonderful lens. But this camera is it's almost like the focus on it is so good. It's like cheating. It really is. I'm going to go out today, hopefully, and do some photography. If it's too cold, I'll probably do ham radio. We'll see. But I love the ZF because of its ergonomics. I really like a camera with ergonomics. They say that you shouldn't, like a real photographer, shouldn't be like obsessed with the camera. The camera's simply a mechanism to capture the image and, the artist and all of that. Well, I enjoy the interaction. That's part of what I like to do. And this camera's a lot of fun to use. Now, a camera I really enjoy, and strangely enough, is this little Leica CL. This is the first Leica I ever bought. And I bought this on recommendation, essentially, from Bass Angler. He told me that he thought I would probably like these kind of cameras. Have I done something to that lens? That looks dirty. Okay, I'll just clean it later. But I have had this camera now for several years, and I've taken it on trips. And this camera is not weather resistant. That's the main problem with it. Oh, it's not dead. Look at that. It has a hot battery in it. Maybe I'll use it today. I love this little camera, though. The battery life isn't great. If I'm doing walk around photography in the city, I'll get 2 or 3 hours of it just being on and then snapping photos with it. It's just like the cameras are not very energy efficient or something, and it'll run down the battery. So you carry 3 or 4 batteries normally is what I normally take when I take this, to where one, maybe getting into a second battery on the same trip with the ZF. Seriously, the battery management in Nikon cameras is incredible. Even better so with their DSLRs. Now, the CL, what it has over the ZF, it's kind of hard to tell because the way my lighting is doing is kind of strange. But it's size. It's kind of hard to see it, but it's probably 80% of the size of the ZF. So it's a lot smaller and it's a lot lighter. And it's also crop sensor. It's a 24 megapixel crop sensor. The ZF is a 24 megapixel full frame sensor. So they're the same number of pixels. It's just these are crammed into a tighter space. If you have good light, this camera takes stunningly good photos. This lens that's on it currently is the TTR's 35 f/0.95. I have the f/1.4, and honestly, if I was going to travel, I would probably choose that lens because it's lighter. It's significantly lighter than this lens. This is just the one I had on it the last time I had it out and was walking around with it. This lens, I like this lens because the focus barrel is easy to get a hold of. That's the reason I choose it over the f/1.4 when I'm at home, because it's easier to manipulate. The aperture ring is on the front, but the focus barrel is nice and easy to grip. Now, I don't think I have any L-mount native glass at this point. I had a couple of L-mount lenses in the past, but I don't think, well, this one's native, but I mean autofocus lenses. I do have an adapter, but I don't use it. It's the expensive one. I can't remember the brand name now, but I tried to sell it on eBay, and we found out it won't work on an SL3, so the fella returned it. It works on my SL2 just fine, but it works with Nikon G Series E lenses. That's the ones it was engineered for. And it, like I said, it does work. It's not great, but it works. But I use the manual focus glass. But this was my travel camera until I got the ZF. And I thought I wanted the ZF mainly for water resistance and the IBIS because it has image stabilization. But I'm going to be honest with you, I'm probably going to go back to this guy. The Leica CL is a better travel camera in my book because of its size and weight, and the colors and the image look great. I don't really need IBIS when I'm shooting. Like, if you get the shutter speeds down below, the reciprocal rule, as long as I can stay at 1/50th of a second, they'll be reasonably sharp enough. I'll take 4 or 5, and that way your odds improve of getting a sharp image. Typically, if I get 4 or 5 of the same frame, one of them will be usable, But if I keep the shutter speed at about a 1/125th of a second, this camera takes great travel photos. Excuse me. So most likely going back to this guy for travel, just because it's smaller and lighter and easier to maneuver with. Because I don't know if you can see it. If I hold it this way, you might can. You can kind of get it in camera. You can kind of tell that it's just a lot smaller camera to get the same visual capture. There's just a lot less of it. This is an incredible camera though. The CL doesn't have hardly any of the feature set of the ZF. It doesn't have a fold out screen. It doesn't have stabilization on the sensor. It doesn't have the autofocus that this camera has. This camera is incredible on autofocus. Let me try something here. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Yeah, it does a little. I'd move my light just a little bit. But as far as like detail photography, this guy's king. This is my Leica SL2. I love this camera with a macro lens. All of my macro lenses are full frame because they're all F-mount or Minolta lenses. I have a Minolta 100, have the 105 f2.8 macro right there, and then I've got a manual 105 AI macro that I've used a good bit, and I got a 55 f3.5 macro. you don't need big glass with macro lenses. I did have the 200 millimeter, but I sent it off and sold it and got that 105 millimeter f1.4 out of that deal. Anyway, back on task. I like to shoot macro lenses when I shoot product photography, and this camera works great for that. I figured out how I'll hit I've got this button right here mapped to ISO. So what I'll do is I'll set it to 100 and shoot flash, and I've got a hot shoe adapter that turns it into a sync cable, and I'll fire one flash or strobe, studio strobe, off the sync cable, and then I slave the other one or two flashes. Typically I'll splash one to get me a white background a lot of times, and then I've got the other one to do the fill light from the other side. That way you don't really have shadows. But they'll all slave off that one synced one, and that way I don't have to have multiple triggers and all that stuff, and I don't have to have batteries. They all plug in the wall, all my strobes do. And I'm trying to eliminate the need for a bunch of AA batteries just to take some studio photos. Works really good, actually. It's not as convenient, like you can't go outside and go off in the woods with it because it's 120 powered, but you know, it's the way it works. But this camera takes beautiful strobe photos like that. And, you know, you set it to manual mode and you just keep adding light until you get the exposure you want. You know, you can play with the ISO a little bit. Typically, I run it at base ISO, like 100 or 50 or whatever it is in this camera. I'd have to look. And then I found that, you know, you hit the ISO button, you can just select auto, and it'll brighten the image, and you can see the image natively for composition purposes and for focusing or what have you. And then you go back to 100, creates a black frame, of course, because you're stopped down to F8 or F11, and you take the picture and the strobes fire, and then you just adjust your exposure based off that. I haven't used a light meter with this to like set the exposure triangle. I just adjust it until the whites are white. You know, I just keep adding light until I can take the image and check it. I do it that way. It's probably less efficient, but it works for me. I don't have to do it a lot, but you know, it gives me what I want, so I move on. But yeah, I have the 50 millimeter f2 on here for when I do walk around, but this camera is very heavy. That's the drawback to the SL family, is these cameras are heavy. They really are. And they're the little brothers to the S. A lot of people don't realize Leica makes an S series camera, and it's a pro camera. It's full frame, but they're enormous, and their lenses are huge. You can actually get a S to SL adapter and put those S lenses, and they're just huge lenses. It actually might be a slightly even bigger sensor. I don't remember. But yeah, you got there's 2 or 3 of those S cameras. There's several generations of them, and they're very high end. Like the camera bodies are like 20 grand. They're very expensive, but they're meant for like studio work. They're just huge cameras for that purpose. All right. If you haven't said hi yet, say hi in the chat and let us know you're here. It helps. YouTube needs it to propagate it around so that they know people are here. Hopefully this time I've actually got the ads turned off midstream. I had done something the other day and apparently had reset the whole block you type in before you start the stream, and it had reset it to monetization on, and that's why y'all were seeing ads. I turned it off right before I started the stream, so maybe this time it'll actually be off until the stream's over. We'll see. But I tried a different approach. Good morning, Carmine. Thank you. I'm in the process of watching your Nikon D5200 video. Looks like it's going to be real interesting. You're the epitome of the gear don't matter. No matter what camera you pick up, you take amazing photos with it. But I have come to understand that I don't need, like, I don't even need the cameras I have, really. I just need one. I could do everything I want with the CL. I have done all of the things that I do with it. I don't know if I've done Sacred Heart photos with it or not, but I've done product photography with it. The photos look great. You get good light with the strodes. It don't matter how big the sensor is. The images look good. Oh, I have another one. I have the Z50 I'm filming on right now. I forget it because I don't take it down off this little webcam mount. I forget that thing's even there. I shot wildlife with it for a little bit, but the focus on it isn't great. It's good. It's not bad by any stretch of the word, but, well, it ain't great. The Z52 supposedly is like light years ahead of the Z50 as far as focus goes. I like the big long 500 millimeter lens on the ZF because it's really good focus. It's got all that animal eye detect and all that stuff. And it's fast. It's really fast, especially the FTZ2. I don't know if they done different things in the electronics or if they just took that mount off the bottom and just made it cylindrical, but to me it looks like they improved the electronics too because it seems to work faster than the FTZ. I'm using the FTZ on here just to couple this. I got a F-mount lens that's on the Z50. It's a little 10 to 20 millimeter DX lens, and it allows me to have depth in here. Like currently it's on what looks like 16 millimeters. That is kind of normal, about right for what I do. I really need to do something about the contrast. That's what it looks like. I got just so much contrast in this image, and my shirt is just blacked out. Hope y'all are having fun today. But I have really gotten to where I've been liking using this D200, mainly because it's just nostalgic. That's the real reason. With the battery grip on it, it looks a lot bigger than it really is. Let's take that off so you can get an idea. It's actually a quite small camera. I like these factory battery grips because you have to take the battery door off. And so to prevent you from losing the battery door, it's stored in the battery grip. It's got a little pocket right here where this contact tower is that you just slide the door down in, and that keeps you from losing the battery door when you're not using it on the camera. And then, of course, the grip holds two batteries physically inside of it, so you get twice the energy. This prevents me from having to carry the spare battery in my pocket. I just carry it in the camera. And I can go on a whole photo walk, and I never run both of them down. But you can see the camera's pretty compact without the battery grip on it. And I like the extra grip size that it gives me. If I can get it to take. Well, yeah, there it goes. It's a gear drive deal. All right, now. There, back on. But I've always bought the battery grips for all of my DSLRs for whatever reason. The D7000, the D810, and this D200's all had one. Now, I've had a couple of D200s in the past, and I don't think I bought grips for them. It's just I happened to see them that day. They probably done it on purpose at MPB, and it was cheap. Like the factory Nikon battery grips are normally kind of expensive, and it was only like $40 or something. It was dirt cheap. But I don't have this obsession between full frame and crop sensor cameras. I do have two full frame cameras and two crop sensor cameras, and it's only because the features on the outside of the camera are what lured me, not the sensor. I did have the fallacy of lower megapixel, larger sensor has larger photo sites and therefore has supposedly better low ISO performance. But I have come to learn that ISO performance is done all in software now. It's all in the processing of the image in software. So it really is, it's a moot point at this point. That's a lot of points. Let's see. Let me check something. Okay. But yeah, I mean, as far as functionality, Nikon's cameras are uber functional. You know, Canon's the same way. They all have, all the Canon and Nikon they're kind of like the Chevrolet and Ford of the camera world, to use a U.S. analogy. I guess, you know, I'm not sure what two competing brands would be, like Audi and Volkswagen, I guess, or something. I don't know, for Europe. I'm just spitballing here because I don't know. But for an American euphemism, you know, Ford versus Chevrolet, it's like, you know, two sides of the same fruit, essentially, and depends on which side you prefer. But they're really, really feature rich with a lot of functionality that I'll ever even use. A lot of it. Like, there is features in these cameras that I will never even access. And is that my fault or bad? Yeah, it's all on me, but I don't need it. And I'm not interested in using all those whiz-bang features. I'll see people that'll go in and they'll customize the camera heavily, and they'll learn the camera like very intimately, and they're really, really deeply invested in knowing how the camera works. And when you do that, you get really, really good images, but not everybody's wired the same. So I don't see the value in people really needing all of the functionality that the Nikon's cameras have. For this one, a lot of times, let's see if it's in manual right now. No, it's in aperture priority. And in aperture priority, it guesses the aperture because it doesn't have communications with this TTRs and lens, but it allows me. It actually is, it's compensating exposure. It's trying to adjust exposure. That's kind of neat. A lot of times I'll run this in manual mode, but let's see. ISO's at 100 and it's auto. But it's got like a 2-second shutter speed because it's at like F14. A lot of times when I'm photo logging, I'm shooting at F8. It's half second. If we go to F28, we're at quarter second. 0.95 or 1/20th. At ISO 100. Let's see if we run that ISO up. There we go. Go to 800. Yeah, now I got to 1/200th of a second. You know, this camera is a lot of fun for me to use, and I have learned how to use it to where I can get good photos with it, and it's light, and like I said, it brings me a lot of joy to get this camera out and walk with it. That's the camera you need, is the one you enjoy taking with you. When you have one you enjoy taking with you, you'll take it. If it's a burden to carry it, like this SL2, just to tell you the truth, this thing is a beast. It's too heavy. When I had that, 24 to 90 millimeter mid-range zoom, it's enormous. The lens huge, and it's very heavy. With that lens on this camera, it hurt my neck to carry it around. I mean, honestly, it's not a practical camera for like walking around the city and taking photos. It's just too heavy. So I have considered selling the SL2 a couple of times just because it doesn't see a lot of use hardly anymore. Since I've got the ZF now, I tend to grab it if I want something in that kind of form factor. But it does its jobs well that I do use it for, so I keep it around. And I don't know. There's not a lot of gear that I'm looking to add to the collection at this point. I kind of like the stuff I have, and I already have a surplus of equipment. Like, there's 4 dividers over there in that cabinet that have camera gear in them, and 3 of them are full of lenses. And I don't need any more gear. I don't even want any more gear. You know, that's 2 completely different things. If you want equipment, that's different from needing it. Yeah, I've seen people that needed equipment that, you know, that and that precludes wanting it. If you don't have a camera or you don't have a lens, you can't take photos. That's the minimum requirement to be a photographer, is a camera with a lens. And, you know, until you can at least satisfy that requirement, you can't take photos. Instead, you're going to have to do pencils or paintings or something, you know. You're going to have to come up with something different. Ah, Mr. Barclay is in the house. Thank you for dropping in. Thank you for leaving a note. If y'all haven't done it yet, thumbs up on the video. Appreciate that if you would. Excuse me. Don't know what that's about. Probably from the machine shop, something in the shop, if I had to guess. But we've been real busy the last couple of weeks in the machine shop, so I haven't been able to do photo walks. That's why I haven't been able to make videos. And something else I wanted to bring up. Let me see. I think I got a note in here about it in my notebook. Let's see. Yeah, I'll just ask you now instead of doing all this complexity stuff I wrote down. Have y'all noticed the last few videos I've made how there's either no music or very minimal music? I'm trying to decide, do I even need music in the videos in the background? Does it add anything to the video that is necessary? Because if it's not, I'm thinking about shutting off my Epidemic Sound subscription, because if I'm not using it, I don't need to be paying for it. I haven't downloaded anything new from them in probably 2 months now. And for a while there, I was getting new stuff constantly, and I was experimenting. But up till recently, I haven't really needed it a lot. And I'm wondering if I needed it all. And so let me know, drop a comment and let me know. If you're watching this as a video after the stream has ended, then just leave a comment in the comment section. But if it's in the stream, you can drop it in the stream too. But now I'm trying to decide if I want to shift away from using supporting music. I never miss the music. Awesome. So you never even noticed it. That's cool. That means I had it set so low that you didn't even hear it. It's kind of good. I find background music distracting. Yeah, some of my early videos, it's overwhelming. I figured out that I had it turned up way too high. I have to pull it down about 25 dB below my audio. Free music from YouTube is beautiful. Awesome. That's good to know. Yeah, it's just based on the comments from you three. I think I know where I'm going with this. Because it's not really, I'm not a filmmaker, and I don't do like stuff that really needs it. And I don't know sound design all that well. For you to use music appropriately, you have to understand filmmaking a little better than I do. I've never studied filmmaking, so I'm not that great at it. And based on that information alone, I've wondered, and it's free. Yeah, Carmine, that's a big bonus. So I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. I've had that Epidemic Sound subscription for years now. And, for 500 or 600 videos, I've used it. But I'm thinking now, I think I'm going to step back away from that and move away from it. And just terminate that subscription so I don't have to spend that, $175 a year or whatever it adds up. It's like $15 a month that it adds up to in a year's time. I can spend that money on something different. But, yeah, that's a good point. I think I'm going to do a different way on that. Probably after this stream, I'm going to send them the bad news. I'm curious to see if they allow, since I used the music while it, in the videos, while I had an active subscription, I'm going to see if they gig me immediately on copyright infringement when I turn off the subscription. I haven't read the fine print that well to see if that's what's going to happen, but it may be that all of my videos suddenly go to unmonetized because of whatever you call that. Yeah, Terrell says he's actually clicked off of videos because the background music was interfering with the vocals of the people. And yeah, I have some videos that are that bad. And you go back far enough in the catalog, they're pretty bad. Like I said, I found I have to pull the music down 25, 30 dB below the audio or the talking. So it doesn't, so it's kind of just in the background real faint. But if you want it, and then you go, and even if you turn it up, when it's like doing, like you're driving or something, you don't turn it up as loud as the voice. It's always like, I normally go 10 dB less than the voice, my voice in the video. It's a big game of adjusting the audio levels so that it doesn't sound overwhelming, because music has so much more, I guess, compression built in, that it fills the space with sound so much more powerfully than the audio is, because I'm not running compression on this at all. This is just whatever it's coming out. I don't have a filter built in on OBS to do that. Checking the comments. No, that's the one I just answered. Oh, let's see. Got some good news. Number one, got my new CW keyer put together yesterday. This is a little tool that has memories and sends Morse code. You can program these buttons to do different things, and these buttons allow you to program it. The whole thing's run through 4 buttons. It's kind of neat how they do this. Good morning, Ron. Thank you for dropping in. If you haven't done it yet, hit me a thumbs up, y'all. But this one has memories, and a lot of times if you're doing certain kind of activities, you'll send the same information repeatedly, and that's what I like these for. But this also allows me to send Morse code at different speeds than what the radios typically can easily set to. So, and some radios only have a straight key input, and this allows you to run dual lever paddles. This is just a very powerful little tool for like $30, $40. They're very cheap. I bought the kit and saved a few bucks because it just takes a couple of minutes to solder it. There's Tell. Nice, he dropped in. But I love these. These are made by, this is called the Ultra Pico keyer, and you get them from a website called Ham Gadgets if you're into Morse code. And like I said, if you get the kit and you don't get it pre-assembled, it's about $5 or $10 cheaper. And I think I'm currently up to 4 or 5 of these things. Got one on my beacon. I got one I keep in the truck for ham radio parks on the air. The one that's on the bench here. See, this one's purple. You can get them with different colors. It doesn't matter. It's just 3D printed cases. But this is the one that stays in here, because it's got different programs in it for here. And then this one's going to go to my camper. I'm building a portable station at the camper, and I want a keyer for it. So I got this keyer built for the camper. I was up here messing with it a little bit. It still has the internal speaker on. So if I plug this in, and then if I send Morse code, it'll sound like this. Yeah, the key's moving around on the bench. You can hear it. You go in the software and you turn off that speaker if you don't want it bugging you while you're working contacts on the air. I normally turn that off after I get the programs set up and all that. It's kind of neat. Did someone say camping? I'm not going camping in that 38 degrees. I'll just tell you that. We have a camper set up in a campground with full hookups. It's essentially like a little mini house. But yeah, I got that built. Let's see. I found my old Scout, Ten-Tech Scout, the one I lost back in July. I just left it sitting at the park and went back 2 days later, and of course it was gone. Well, it finally surfaced on eBay, and I'd done some communicating with the guy, and he had bought it from a yard sale, essentially. And he said at that point it didn't have the hard case, and it was on. And I think he said it only had 6 band modules when he got to it. So he got it without the hard case and with already a couple of the modules gone. And I bought it back from him for what he had paid for it. I was like, it's not, it wasn't stolen. I left it behind. So, that was a finders keepers kind of thing, because it was out in the middle, big remote area by itself. There was nobody around. Like, yeah, you could, and it was a Sunday evening. You couldn't easily turn it into the park office because they're closed on Sunday all day in the office. But he is in Florida, and he bought it at a yard sale in Panama City. So whoever found it lived in Florida. It's like, yeah, it's on me. So I paid him what he had invested in it, and he's sending me the radio, all of the stuff, like the owner's manual and stuff I'd made up, and he had 2 band modules left for it. He didn't realize he had sold the band modules before he put the radio up. But yeah, I can get it back. It's coming home. I should have it by Wednesday. So now I'll have 3 of these little radios. Hey. Here's another one. This one's the Argo. This is the 5-watt one. Then here's a Scout. That's, you can see it's another one of these. This radio and this radio are identical, other than that one has 50 watts. This one has 5 max. And then I have the other one in the truck, which is just like this one that I do Parks on the Air with. I have a bunch of these little radios. And what I was talking about, the band modules, that's this thing here. You change the frequency with these little guys to go from one band to the next in the ham radio bands. But yeah. So now I got to get another hard case and start putting the kit back together. I've been carrying the one I bought last to replace the one that I just got back. I've been carrying it around in the cardboard box it shipped in. It's kind of pathetic. I really need to get a hard case. But yeah, whatever. Yeah, I bought it back. But yeah, it was cool. You can have a camping trip during the winter experience at home by simply stepping into your fridge. That's a good one. Yeah, just like your tripod, except for I had to pay for mine. Which, yeah, I ain't bitter. I'm just glad to get it. I had took that radio apart and had done some work inside of it to repair some things that were dead, like the meter display and a couple of other little things inside the radio. So I know the radio is electrically great, and it worked great for me in the field. I really enjoyed using it. So to get it back will make me really happy. Kind of looking forward to that. It should be here Wednesday, if I'm right. If I did my math right. It'll leave. He's done printed the label, and I've done got the tracking number, and it'll go out either today or Monday with the post. So we'll see. But yeah, it was kind of cool. Me and him had a long conversation on eBay, chatting back and forth in the texting app, where you can do messages. And I explained to him what I'd done and how I've been watching for it. And he's like, can you prove to me that this is the actual radio? Because I could have been somebody just trying to grift him, and I get it. So I went through my blog and found a photo of the top of the radio. And he's got a photo listed on eBay of the top of the radio showing all the stuff with it, And I'll answer that in just a second, Ron. That's a good question. And I just sent him that picture from my blog post from like back in January. And I was like, yeah, just look at the tops of the radios. You can see the scratches are in the same exact places. And he's like, good grief, this is your radio. He was going to give it to me, but I was like, dude, no, you done spent money on it. It ain't right. So he charged me what he had paid for it. And I was like, dude, that's more than fair, But yeah, got it back. Moving on to the next subject. Ron asks, when is your next Chattanooga photo walk? This afternoon, unless it's too cold. If it ain't windy and it's just cold, if it can be in the 40s, as long as it ain't real windy, it's okay. I can deal with that. I can deal with the cold as long as the wind ain't blowing 20 knots. But I'm going to probably take the CL, and I'm going to walk around with 35 millimeter on the CL and just take some wandering around the city photos. And we'll make sure the batteries are charged. Do y'all store your batteries like this? These are all the different cameras. These are Nikon Z50 batteries, Leica CL batteries, Leica SL2 batteries, Nikon ZF and Nikon D200 batteries, double A's, a few triple A's. This is the charger for my extra Osmo Action batteries, which is super dead at this point because I haven't charged it since before going to Greece. Might ought to do that. It's kind of hard to make videos when your video camera's dead. But yeah, I'll go through these and find me a few of them that are hot. Maybe I'll throw a couple on the charge. I've got a charger up here somewhere. Juice them up. But I'll do that after the stream because I ain't going to go till into the afternoon. I'll wait till after lunch. But I wanted to do some photo walking today. But that's the next one. Through the week walks is kind of tough right now. Like I said, I'm working in the machine shop because my foreman, Scotty, had to have his knee replaced. And until he's back in, and that won't be, I think he said the doctors released him for January 11th or something. That's a good question, Barclay JB. I guess you're JB. Correct me on that if I'm wrong. So during the week, photo walks are pretty rare right now. Just dealing with all the usual things about taking care of errands and stuff. Normally I get 2 off days during the week, and one I do errands and like things around the house and, fix door locks or whatever. And then the other day I get to go on my photo walk. And so working on that. Scratch my nose. Hey, Jacob's here. Hi from the Netherlands. Sorry I'm late for the stream. You're not too late. We're doing all right. And there's Woody. Nice. Starting to pick up a little bit of a head of steam here. Okay. JB says, what does the Leica SL, talking about my SL2, get you over the ZF? Honestly, the only thing it really has that the ZF doesn't is megapixels. It has 45 megapixels and the ZF only has 24. It's built like a tank and it's waterproof. Even the batteries, on the outside edge of the battery has an O-ring seal built into the battery that seals the battery port. Now, the ZF is also weather resistant. But you get the image quality of the Leica glass. If that matters to you, I like it. I like the 50 millimeter SL. This is called a Summicron because it's an F2. But as far as everything else, like the color science, if you shoot straight out of camera JPEG like me, the color science matters. But if you shoot raw files, now that's something that is nice about Leica's raw files. They're DNGs. So you don't have to wait on the software companies to update the programs with the new camera because they just use digital negatives. They just use DNGs straight out of the. That's what they create when they make a raw file. And that's kind of nice. And all of the editing programs recognize them. I haven't really had much trouble other than that. It does have 2 full-size cards. That's nice. The card slots holds 2 full-size SD cards. But as far as everything else, that's about all it gets over the ZF. It does have really, like I said, the optics are gorgeous. It just takes stunningly good photos. It's a very simplistic camera. If you'll notice, most of the buttons are not marked. There's very few. If I get it up here into the light, you can see there's a couple of buttons on the top. They're not marked. You have the 3 on the back. Get it toward the camera here. That have names. You can remap. This one in the middle says function on it. You can map that to do whatever you want. It does something from the factory, and I don't remember what it is. And then it has 2 function buttons on the front right here. Let's see. I get the light right. There you go. And I've got one of them for focus magnification with manual glass. And then I don't remember what the other one is. I'd have to look. Might be exposure compensation. And then the rear command dial is a button and a wheel. It doesn't have a front command dial, but it has this one on top. And I kind of like this better than the one on the front like Nikon uses, because your finger's already resting on the shutter, and you just literally drag it back, and you can just move it over, and you can make adjustments on this command wheel real easy. This camera is a real joy to take photos with it, and its IBIS works really, really well. And I'm pretty sure I know why the IBIS in Leica cameras works good. It's because it's Panasonic IBIS. Leica's guts, if I'm understanding it right, are pretty much Panasonic Lumix cameras. They do some different things on the outside, but pretty much this is like whatever Lumix equivalent to this is. And that autofocus works really good. Now, I don't remember if they added phase detect to this one, because it did have a firmware update recently, and I think it might have got phase detect autofocus. But for the longest, this was contrast only autofocus, and the CL is contrast only. You know, that's old school, real old school tech. And, you know, so autofocus is it's just not as good. But if you shoot stop down like I typically do, it doesn't matter. You know, when your depth of field is, 3, 4, 5 feet deep, and they're somewhere close to the front of that, they're in focus. It looks good. And I don't print. I mean, you see this picture behind me here. That's a 20 by 30 of Flagstaff, Arizona at night. I shot that off a tripod, and it's a long exposure, real long, because you can't tell it, but there's a train over on the side right there. Man, that's hard to do in backwards. That light stream there is a train engine. That's the headlight of a train engine. That's how long the exposure was. But that was one of my first long exposure shots that I liked. That's why it's framed in on the wall. But that's all you get over the ZF, really, is megapixels, the Leica color science if you shoot JPEG, and I do a lot. And then the camera it just feels really good in the hand. It just, until you shoot with one, well, some people just don't like them. I mean, I think Phil Thatch said at one point, something, I'm paraphrasing slightly here, that Leica doesn't make a single camera that appeals to him. And, to each his own. He likes cameras that have, really good autofocus, because he likes to shoot little tiny birds in the bushes. And for him, Leica cameras don't do that well. They do it terribly, just to tell you the truth. And then I'll see people on YouTube who will get literally an M10 monochrome and put a 35 millimeter lens on it, and that's their only camera and lens. They don't have anything else, and they love it. It's just to each his own. It's really interesting to see that kind of divisive opinions in the same hobby. It's kind of neat to see. It really is. Let's see. Let me catch up. There's a whole conversation going on here. Oh, here we go. I have seen a lot of videos lately talking about the virtues of going back to DSLR bodies. I have too. I have noticed that as well. It's like they saw me and they were like, hey, Sailor's got that D200 dirt cheap off MPB. Let's go see what we can round up. Let's see. it makes you feel sad that you might have spent a lot of money on gas and then watch those videos talking about DSLR. Yeah. Honestly though, I like this camera. I like this one really well. This is the XT3 that I wanted. It really is. Other than the side hinging, this is a very, I don't know, 1 to 10 scale of annoyance. This is about a 2. I wished it folded out like the XT3. This that flips straight out, because I like to do waist level shooting at times, and it's a little clunky when it flips to the side. You can still do it. It's just a little clunky. But other than that, yeah. Ron says that I like the Nikon Z6 too. It just feels good in the hands. I think it's the great street photography body with the 51.8S. You can swing it around all day long. Right. Yeah, this one is good. It's a little heavy. It's not real bad. Plus, it has the small rig grip on it, so it makes it a little bulkier. It gives it that. I like having that grip bump on the front. My hand being so, my fingers are so long, this is just right. If you'll notice, my fingers sit perfectly on the body, and my thumb rests on the thumb support and everything. It just fits good that way. And I like the little soft releases. When I got this from Randall, it had a different soft release, and I didn't have it screwed in good and snug, and it unscrewed and fell out at some point. So I bought some more off of Amazon, put a new one in it. You can get these things for little or nothing off Amazon. But yeah, the soft release, I don't know. I like it. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but when it come in from Randall and it had one in it, I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. And I enjoyed it. So yeah, I keep one on it now. You know, if you're going to run a remote release cable, you actually screw it in there just like an old film camera. Let's see. Ron says, I bet I could dump all my Nikon mirrorless and go back to DSLR and still put money back in my pocket, even at wholesale pricing at MPB. Probably. And no one would know it. If you had a D850 and you were taking them photos, just like Garrett Gillette, no one would know. The pictures would still be wonderful. The D850 was and is an unbelievably good camera. But when I got my Z6, the very first one, I was shopping between it and a D850 because I had the D810 and I was wanting to upgrade. And my buddy Aaron has, y'all know who Aaron is, had the D850 at the time. And it took, he got gorgeous landscape photos with it. And he got amazing photos of everything. Aaron's an amazing photographer. But he upgraded to the Z8 finally. But yeah, that thing was unreal. And I was this close, and I decided to get the Z6 instead. Let's see. Terrell said he upgraded from the T7 to the R10 Canon for animal eye detect and frame speed. He said it helped with his wildlife photos. He says the biggest thing he misses from the T7 though was the battery grip. I do like a battery grip. I really do. Ron says, I think the ZF and the Z6 II are similar in weight and size. The Z6 II does have, the Z6 II does not eat through your battery like the Z8 does. Huh. The Z52 suffers from battery issues. Yeah, if you'll notice, wherever I put that battery holder, there it is. I have I got 6 batteries for my CL. Now, part of that's because a couple of them was going bad. They're not Leica batteries. I got a couple of Leicas, but like this one's called Pickle Power. Let's see. That's a Leica cell. That's the Leica. A lot of them are these Wasabi. Yeah, Wasabi Power. These are actually good batteries. And there's one in the camera, so that means I got 7. But I have 2 Leica cells. They've held up. Them Pickle Power ones didn't. They didn't last long. They were terrible. So I got Yeah, 3 of these Wasabis in here. But I got 3 batteries for the Z50. One's a factory one, and then 2 of them are, well, they're not even named, but they look like it. Yeah, this one says 4ENEL25, not an ENEL25. But, you know, I got the one factory nickel or Nikon battery, and then 2 of them aftermarket. No, 2 of them are Nikons, and one's an aftermarket. Okay. I don't know about that. But you end up with a mountain of batteries before it's over said and done. Is this the one for these? Looks like it. Yes, it is. Found the charger. I can go ahead and get some batteries topped off right quick for my photo walk today. I have a USB charger for my CL batteries. The one from Leica charges like, it takes overnight to do one, you know. Let me get this plugged into a USB port of some sort. Let's see if this will do. Yeah. Juice it up. Come on. Is that not on? Nope. Okay. Pick a different one. How about this one? Yeah, there we go. We'll let them charge right there. Y'all can even see it. Ah. They're charged. That's good. They held their charge. Because I don't know how long ago I charged them. It's been a while. But yeah, I would, if honestly, if it didn't have this grip on it, I wouldn't like the ZF. It would be too small. It really would. I need that deeper grip. I say I need it. I want that deeper grip. That's why I added the grip thing to the CL. If you look, it's got one too right here. This little limbs grip extension. That makes it perfect for my hand. It just kind of makes it. I like the comfort of that, having that first finger bit on that little grip bump. It just works out. And I don't know. That's the way I like to run my cameras. I prefer them that way. You know, the bigger cameras automatically have a big deep grip on them. So I think I got spoiled with the D810 and that deep grip it had. Ron says I use a power brick that has power delivery with USB-C. I will plug in the Z52 and let it charge while I'm moving around. Yeah, that's a little bit of a downfall. I'm hoping that at some point one of the firmware updates this fixes it. Is that the ZF, if it ain't the right kind of USB-C, it won't charge. You can't do in-camera charging with it. I've tried. I've run into problems where it wouldn't charge the battery in the camera. That's one of the reasons I wanted one of those USB Viltrox charged batteries, because then I could charge them. And that's what I used when I went on the trip to Greece. I took the Viltrox and I took one spare Nikon battery, I think, and a charger just in case something failed. But at this point going forward, I want those USB-C chargeable Viltrox batteries. They work so well. They work essentially identical to the Nikon batteries, but you don't need a Nikon charger. You just need this USB-C cable. And you can plug them in, charge them up. It worked perfectly for me on my trip. Made the kit so much smaller and lighter, too. What will I be shooting today? Be downtown Chattanooga. I like to go there. Number one, it's about 4 or 5 degrees warmer there than it is here on the mountain. I'm out in the country, and I'm elevated about 500-600 feet above the valley floor on Sand Mountain. So the temperature here will be at least 5 degrees, if not 8 degrees colder than it will be in downtown. In the city, you get all the concrete and stuff just absorbs the heat and holds it. So the city it'll be a good bit warmer. It'll probably be in the 40s in the city. Probably already is, truth be known. I don't know where my phone went. There it is. It says it's 38 here, so it's probably 45 there right now. Ron says the D500 will run all day long on a single battery. In fact, most DSLRs will. Yeah, that's what I was saying about this D200. I'll take it, and I won't take anything but this, because it's got 2 batteries in the grip. And like I said, I rarely get out of one battery into the other. And it does discharge one, then the other. I don't know what they're doing in the grip to do that management, but it'll normally discharge the left battery, then the right one. kind of strange. I figured it would pull them down together, but it doesn't. It uses out of one, then the other. Hey, Through Joe's Lenses here. How you doing? Thank you for stopping by. But that's what I'll be doing today. I'll be doing my usual downtown street walk around photos, trying to find something interesting. They've got the Embassy Suites finished, and it's been open for a while now. I've stopped photographing it because nothing's really changing at this point other than the seasons. I went in and talked to them to see if they'd be interested in maybe some of the photos, for whatever reason. And it turns out they had set up their corporate office was across the street in a building that could see the lot, and they had set up a camera and had time-lapse photographed the whole thing themselves. Yeah. So, that's the way it goes. Tuesday and Wednesday are supposed to be nice in Chattanooga. Well, if I get to go, it'll be on Tuesday. We'll see. Maybe I will. Looking forward to it if it is. Let me see. I only have 3 batteries for my 2 Nikon cameras in total. 1 spare and 1 in each camera that the camera came with. That's what Woody says. So he don't have but 3 batteries. I got more than that for the cameras I don't even hardly use. But now I am big on like third-party batteries. A lot of people don't like third-party batteries. I'm pretty sure this one, yeah. The SL2 batteries from Leica are exorbitantly expensive. They're essentially Leica taxing you. They're a little bit gougy. This one is a Castor, Kastar, and this battery works fine. This is a great battery. And I got it for about 1/4. I got 2 of them for half the price of one Leica cell. So, yeah. They're about 1/4 the cost of a Leica, and it's still high. It's still more expensive than like an ENEL 25 or an ENEL 15 for a Nikon. But it's still way cheaper than factory Leica cells, which I've had 2 or 3 of them go bad already, and that hurts. When one of them dies, like I took one apart just to see what was going on inside, see if I could bring it back, and I figured out what was wrong was, I don't know how, I guess it's going in through the contact ports because it's sealed on the outside when you put it in the camera, but I would carry these in my pocket in my trousers, and I got like a little watch pocket on the front of them, and I'd sweat on them, and it had got in behind this whole top of the cell is a circuit board with them pads and them contacts on it, and that circuit board's got like a little IC that I'm assuming does power management, and it's watching the battery voltage and all that stuff so you don't over discharge them, and all that corroded. It was all green and fuzzy and blue, greenish turquoise color corrosion from all the salt from my sweat. So I literally cut it open, took the battery apart, cleaned all of that, resoldered all the connections, and it worked for another month or 2. Then it finally, I think the cells had been damaged because that IC wasn't working right. But yeah, I wound up throwing that battery away finally. But it did work for a while. It got to where it wouldn't charge in the regular charger, and I was charging it with a battery power supply, or just a regular power supply on my test bench. I charged it up 2 or 3 times like that before I finally just threw it away. But now that you can get affordable batteries, I don't worry too much about it. Where is Chattanooga? Let me see here. I have had a problem with the H sticking on my keyboard. I don't know what that's about. I have family that lives out just outside Chattanooga. Oh, I see it now. Voice to text. That's what that is. I'm pretty sure. Terrell only has the ones that come in his camera. Dang, autocorrect got him. Yeah. That's funny. I'm trying to remember. Make sure I didn't forget anything. Let's check these two cells. Remember I said the CL loves batteries. And since they discontinued it, I don't think there's going to be any more firmware updates for it. We'll put these two in the carriers, and we'll put these two. Yeah, these, the Wasabi Power, as you can see, have a little bit of internal discharge. They're not 100%. That's kind of neat. I like them little snap-in carriers to keep you from like getting your keys across the contacts and damaging your battery in your pocket. Because I carry them in my pocket. I'll normally take 2 spares with me when I go on my walk. And then like I've gotten where I park the truck more centrally located, typically somewhere about 8th or MLK on Broad Street on the street side parking. I'll stick it somewhere in there, and that way I can kind of go back by if I need to grab a battery or, you know, a lens wipe or something. I don't have to like wander all the way from it and then go all the way back to it if I need something. I'll at least pass by the truck at least once on the photo walk. Yeah, them two are almost charged. They're usable like they are. Kind of looking forward to my walk with my CL today. It's going to be fun. I'm going back up through this chat to make sure I didn't miss something. There's a lot happening here. Finally got some activity going on. That's kind of cool. For my Canon R10, I had to find fully decoded batteries so I get access to the high frame rate and 4K video. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. That chip, I'm assuming, tells the camera that it's a legitimate battery. Like it's communicating with the camera and telling it something. There's some stuff going on there. Like not all the contacts are just for power flow. They're for communications too. I don't fully understand all I know about that, but yeah, they do that on purpose so that certain, like if it's not a well-copied battery, it won't work. Now, for the CL, this is a genuine Leica battery. This battery is like probably $100. They're expensive from Leica. But this is the same exact battery that Panasonic uses in their Lumix cameras. The same battery. So you can get the Panasonic battery for like $25. I don't even bother with that. I just get the Wasabi Power and roll with it. I think this is the one that come with it. But and it still works. They do something different with their batteries. It's got Chinese writing on it. So they're not getting them from like Germany. It says made in China right here. What does this one say? This one got Chinese writing all over it too. Made in China right there. So, but they hold up better. They do last longer. So there's something different in these batteries that's not in like the Wasabi Power. Even though they're probably made by the same people in the same exact factory, there's something a little bit different. Now, this one says it's only 1,200 milliamp hour. Let's look right here. Yeah, see, these are 1,400 milliamp hour. That's different. This one's more powerful. Huh. I don't know. Now, these, let's see here. This one says it's 1,440. It's the pickle power. And like I said, I got 3 of these and a charger for like $25 or $30. 2 of them, one of them immediately went dead. Like you'd charge it and the next day it'd be dead. Then the next one that died took maybe 3 months and then it did the same thing. And this one has held up the longest. I haven't tried it yet to see if we'll see what it does in a minute. Once them finish topping off, I'll stick it in there and see if it's self-discharged. I'm curious now. The Leica cells held their charge. See, it's like they're made just a little better. But is it $100 better? But yeah, I will use third-party batteries. I'm not a bit afraid of it. Technology's gotten there now. You can do it and get away with it. It's okay. There was a time when the cameras wouldn't recognize the cell. Nikon was pretty notorious for it. Like there was knockoff ENEL. Is it 15s? Is the standard? Let's see. Yeah, ENEL 15C. This is an actual Nikon ENEL 15C battery. And there was a period of time, if it didn't have the encoding from that battery, it just wouldn't work. You know, there's several YouTube videos from 5 or 6 years ago about that. You know, people trying to get different batteries to work in them. But yeah. But I'm gonna circle back around to a wrap up, and then we'll do some questions and stuff. I just wanted to show the 4 cameras I primarily use that I actually take out and grab and go to the field with. And of those 4, 2 of them actually get used more than the rest. And well, right now, the D200 is seeing significant service just because I'm playing with it. It's kind of new to me, even though it's an old camera, and I've had a couple of them in the past. It's just fun. It just is. And so there's a little novelty in this one. But the ZF and the CL are the 2 that I really like. Yeah, Terrell says, I wouldn't use cheap third-party batteries, but do use better-built third-party. Yeah, the Pickle Power was kind of that was the throwing the dicey kind of one, you know. But the Wasabi Power is a really good, like, third-party maker that you can get on Amazon. I have had nothing but great service out of those batteries. And that Castar for the Leica SL2 was worked really well too. Viltrox makes wonderful batteries for the ENEL 15C, and they're USB chargeable. I super recommend them guys. Yeah. That's actually a Viltrox cell, and it's got a USB-C port for charging, so you don't need to take a charger. You just take a cable. You know, there's USB ports on everything, and you can charge your batteries. I thought that's a brilliant thing. And I'm missing one of them. Where'd I put it? It ain't in the camera. I don't know. Maybe in the camera case. I think it is. I took the camera bag with me when we went on a recent trip to Gatlinburg, and I think it's in there. I need to get it out and put it back in here so I don't... They get scattered. If you ain't real diligent, stuff just gets out. Ron says, do you find the D200 limiting in the low light department? Yes. The ISO performance is atrocious on this camera. In low light, I don't know. I haven't really tried to do long exposures at night with it. It probably does okay for them because, you know, you're leaving the shutter open long enough to expose the sensor, but it has really bad ISO noise. Like, you go much over about 800 ISO, it looks pretty bad. Terrell says he's been using Ant-Man brand batteries. All right. I'll give them a shot when I get to needing some. I'll look and see, because I'm always interested in good quality aftermarket cells. But yeah, the D200 is not my low light machine. That'll be the ZF. Oh, hopefully one of them keys didn't shut down the stream. Camera strap just bounced off the keyboard. But this one has really, really good low light performance. So typically, if I'm gonna do low light, I'm gonna grab this one, and or maybe I'll get the SL2 because it's got pretty good low light performance too. Catsy below. That's a tough one to say. They asked the question, when is Nikon releasing a new flagship? That's a really good question. I could speculate on it. You might find this cool. Okay, I'm curious. Looking for it. I think if it's anything, it won't have a new Z number at this point. It'll just be like the Z9 II, and that'll be what they'll go with, because they've proven that naming, what do you call it, convention with the Z6 and the Z7. The Z5, I think, has a Z5 II at this point. Z52. That's what they'll do. It'll be a Z9 II. What will it do that the Z9 doesn't do now? Probably global shutter. Because when they acquired Red had a global shutter. And I'm assuming they're going to probably start working that into their Z9. That's the next, in my opinion, the next big breakthrough will be a global shutter. And at that point, shutter speed don't matter. Because once you take all the data from the shutter and just move it into a buffer so that you can process it, and you get the microprocessor and the camera is capable of processing that image on a speed of 20 or 30 frames per second like the Z9 II will need to do, then at that point, holy cow. That's incredible. Katzen Ellenbogen. Did I even say that close? It's a cool name, but that's a lot. I'd hate to be like 6 years old in school and have to write your whole name on the paper. I thought Sailors was a long name. It's only like 7 letters. Wow. That's incredible. It sounds cool, though, when you say it all in one run-together sentence. I get it now, cat's elbow. Jacob says, the ZF has amazing low-light performance. Best I've ever seen. I use it with the 500 phase Fresnel for early morning wildlife photos. Perfect lightweight setup. That's the lens I'm wanting to use on it when I do some more wildlife. I haven't done any in a while. I'm kind of getting the itch to go out and take some photos. I don't really like to chase birds around here that much because they all look the same to me. I am not the aficionado. I'm not the, whatever they got, aviarian or whatever that term is for a bird watcher. And, I don't know the names of them or even the different. I know 2 or 3. I know what a tufted titmouse looks like. Phil Thatch taught me that. And a yellowhammer, because I've seen them here. Of course, a red cardinal, a blue jay, and then the female cardinal looks a little different. They're brown. And that's about all I really know. A lot of these little finches and things, or whatever they are, I don't know what they are. They all look, like I said, they all look very similar to me. So I like to photograph like mammals. Deer, fox, bears, elk. That's when I do wildlife around here, that's what I like to find. Deer in particular and elk are really majestic when you photograph them a lot of times. But to get back to your good question there, I would say that they're probably working on a Z9 II with a global shutter. Because like I said, at that point, because right now they're already at 1/32,000th of a second with the Z9. But yeah, if they can do a global shutter, it'll be, it's literally just pull the data down into a buffer. Pull the data down into a buffer. And however big that buffer is how many of those images you can hold. If you put several gigabytes of RAM in it, which is going to cost a lot of money right now, then you're going to see pretty quickly, 30 frames a second burst into a buffer and then put 2 of whatever, the processors are, or 3 or 4 even of those processors to process that data and store it to high-speed memory cards. It all turns into throughput. How fast can they throughput it? And processing horsepower and throughput. But yeah, I think that'll be the next big breakthrough. That and maybe faster cards. I'm thinking, honestly, it won't be long till there won't be removable media unless it's just emergency backup. It'll be like an NVMe drive, and you'll pull a cover and then and you'll actually plug in an NVMe drive and bolt it in just like you do in a computer, and then put the cover back on. And that'll be, it'll have internal memory and it'll have the NVMe, or, that way you can download them over USB-C or even something, or maybe even faster with a SATA port or something, I don't know if SATA's faster than USB-C or not. Really don't know. That's a good question. But I think that's where you're kind of going with it. But yeah, there'll be maybe a dock you can set the camera in, and it'll connect up some kind of a port to allow you to move that data faster. The whole deal is about data flow, being able to get it into the excuse me, getting it into the computer faster to be able to process the images and things like that. Like Ray is already doing stuff with the cloud with his. Like as he takes the photos, it's uploading them to the cloud automatically, and he can do like Photoshop edits and then have them on his phone like almost instantly. It's really unbelievable. Let's see here. I've gotten into the birds some since I put up a feeder during the pandemic. Yeah, we got a bird feeder. I need to put seed in it. It's time. It was time probably a month ago. So here, Cat's Elbow says, since the R6 Mark III's release, I've had to endure tedious spec-driven critiques, open gate 4K, 8K, from Canon users who are unfairly devaluing my Sony A1 II. All I can tell you is tell them, hate on, haters. You're shooting with a Sony A1. That's like shooting with a Leica SL2, It's some of the best hardware Sony makes. If you enjoy shooting with it, let them have their open gate 4K problems. I don't process, like my video editing is still done in 1080p. I tried editing in 4K one video not long ago, and it was a huge struggle. That, and I'm using Linux as an operating system, and apparently there's some memory leak issues with Kden Live, and it'll fill up your RAM as you edit, and cause a lot of trouble. If I do it in 1080p, I don't have any of those problems, so I don't do that. So 8K video is a joke to me. I'm not going to shoot in 8K. I don't have enough computer horsepower to deal with it. Terrell says his parents had a fox show up every day and hang out till the day I show up with my camera. Jacob says he assigned the front function button to switch between DX and FX mode when shooting wildlife. I have a question for the community that I've been pondering about that one thing in particular. When it goes into DX mode, does it just read the DX area of the full frame sensor and ignore everything outside of that? Because if it is, just crop it in post. Because I don't see the value in that. Now, if it gives you faster frame rates because you're not reading the whole sensor now, then that makes sense to me as well. Like with the Z50, it's essentially like a 40-something megapixel full frame equivalent sensor because it's 20.8 or whatever in the DX factor. And if you scale that up, it's like 40-something megapixels. So it's a very high density sensor, if that's the right term, for a DX camera. And I can see that. That works for me. 20 megapixels, you can blow that up really big. But I don't ever put my full frame cameras in DX mode. Now, if I was to put a DX lens on it, the lens will switch the camera, or the camera switches because it detects the lens. But I've never selected it myself, and I've wondered that. Does it use the whole sensor and compress it into a 24 by 16 file size? What's happening there? It's just cropping, but it gives you faster autofocus frame rate, and you can see the subjects better. That's what I was curious. Okay. Yeah, because your EVF's going to show you what you're shooting in. Good point. That makes sense. Because I am going to crop. That's, unless you're just ridiculously close like we was that time with the elk, where they were just walking literally right between us and the truck. That was an unusual day for me. If you've ever shot the elk in the Smoky Mountain National Forest, there's a couple of 3 herds. One herd is over near Cherokee, North Carolina. When you go from Gatlinburg to Cherokee, there's a road through the mountains. And right before you get into Cherokee, there's a huge area in the National Forest where that herd lives. It's a big open field on both sides of the road, and a lot of times you'll see people pulled off, and there'll be a park ranger. If there's ever a park ranger, that's where they are. That's your clue. If you see a park ranger, just pull over. Go ask the park ranger, where's the elk? They'll point them out. But if you go to the other side of the Smoky Mountain National Forest, over to Maggie Valley, North Carolina, you can go in from the backside into an area called the Cataloochee. And that's where we found that herd. And it's a little valley. It's kind of ridge locked. And you go over the mountain and you come down into this little Cataloochee Valley, and there's a herd of elk there. And they were let me see. Maybe I can share a photo with you. Let me see here. How would I do this? Oh, that's the screen. Okay. All right. I know what I need to do then. Let's open this. I'll just show you the picture because I printed it. I finally printed some photos, guys. You know how strange that is for me? Prints. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to bring it over here and make it most of the screen because I don't know how to change the thing to a different picture. Did I do it on this one? Nope. That didn't work. Well, Let me get the picture back up. There it is. Maybe pick and pick works. There we go. I couldn't remember. I can make this full screen. But yeah, you can see his breath. And it's the hoarfrost. It's just beautiful that day. Excuse me. Then this was shot with the Nikon D810 and the 100 to 500. That was the camera and lenses I was using at that time. This photo's several years old. But the other one I got that I liked really well was this one. And, technically I don't think he's looking at me, but it appears to be as such because they look off to the sides more. But I just love these photos, and that's the kind of photos of wildlife I like to take around here. But they were literally, this elk was probably 30 yards from the road. This has not been cropped. Neither one of these images were cropped. Yeah, that's the image in frame. So it's impressive to me. Like, if you get close enough, you can get some stunningly good photos. I don't know if I can I zoom in? Yeah. It's impressive. But that was a good day. I have never seen them that close to the cars again. I got some photos from that day of where they're walking across the road between us and other photographers on the road. Like, seriously, they had no man fear. It was impressive. Terrell says he wants to go out to Yellowstone. Kind of scared of Yellowstone right now. Oh, look, y'all are reading the chat with me. There I am. Thank you, Woody. I finally printed them, or one of them at least. I've been wanting to print them for a long time. Ron's going in May of 2026 to Yellowstone. Woo! Yeah, they've reintroduced a bunch of elk back into the east of the Mississippi. You know, they hunted them to extinction when the early explorers got here. And now they're trying to bring them back. So they're all protected herds, but yeah. Oh, you're going to drive. That's a long drive, dude. That's a long way from here. Yellowstone from Tennessee or Georgia that's several days. We drove, let me think, it was an all-day drive from Aspen, Colorado to Jackson Hole, which is 45 minutes or an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours south of the Yellowstone National Park. That was a long way. That was impressive. Sweating to the music asks, what do I take pictures of in New York City? I head there next week. Dude, are you into street photography? I don't know if you're a dude or a dudette, but seriously, if you're into street photography, that's like the U.S. Mecca of street photography. Every street photographer in this country wants to go there to just wander the streets and photograph stuff, because people there are so used to getting their photos taken that it's like, you know, shooting fish in a barrel, as they say. Yeah, I would absolutely. I'd pick some things out ahead of time. How many days? You know, I'd pick themes. That would make it more interesting. Taking the ZF, good choice. I would try to take a 28 or a 35 in New York, because the streets are a little tighter there than they are like in Chattanooga where I go. I would probably shoot 35 mil there if I could. No, you're not going to have people. People may flip you off because they're from New York. That's just them saying hello. Yeah, I would pick like a color one day as a theme, like maybe the color yellow or the color red or something like that, and just focus on it. If you go with a mission, you'll get better photos. If you just go randomly snapping images, you'll come home with a whole bunch of trash. That's what I have found for me. And then, I would say maybe the next day I'd pick unusual hats, you know, as a theme, you know. But the people of New York is the magic. I have Humans of New York as a book right behind the camera on the shelf, and it's a wonderful book. Tells the story of a bunch of people that I think is a lawyer. But yeah, if you go with a predetermined mission, even if it's raining, the beautiful thing about the ZF is it's weather resistant. You can get out in the rain. If I only had 3 days, I'd go rain or shine. I would, snow or shine. It's probably going to snow if it does anything right now in New York, but I'd go regardless, and you'll find something interesting to photograph. Right now, one of them themes would probably for me be Christmas, because it's that time of year, and you're going to see that everywhere. And I would build that into the photos. That'd be awesome. Thank you, Ron. Noted. Matter of fact, pencil. Write that down right now. Man, that's really messy, but at least I can read it. You're welcome. Thank you for stopping into the stream. Ken's here. Architecture, Coney Island, Brooklyn, bridges. Those are all great ideas too. You could focus on just one bridge and spend all day integrating that bridge into all of your photos And it would be an awesome little, like a, what do you call it? A photo zine. It'd make a cool photo zine. If you just took the Brooklyn Bridge and it was in every photo somehow, you make it of people, but that Brooklyn Bridge is somewhere in that frame, whether it be, you got a picture of them at the base of one of the pylons, and it's just the bricks of the pylon, or, that's from the top of the Empire State Building, and you get a picture of people doing their tourist photos. Somebody's got a phone and somebody's standing at the edge, and down behind them is the Brooklyn Bridge. I would do that. That would be awesome. And then make a zine of that book, of that trip. That would be cool. Are you talking to me, Ron? It says my name. All right. If someone hacked Ron's account, Ron, text me from your phone. Woody says, okay, Ron, start on that video soon. But no, you'll get some people that'll look at you odd. It's New York. There's so many people, they don't care. And most people are so self-absorbed that they don't have time to even notice you're taking photos. And there's so many street photographers in New York, they don't care. It's so commonplace there. It's normal, But yeah, I think you could do something like that and come away with some really cool photos. Okay. Well, absolutely. I think me and you have talked about that a little bit in the past, and I may get your input on something here. Maybe I'll call you and talk to you in a little bit. I listened to my own live stream from the last one, and when I was drinking my smoothie last time, I was doing it by the mic, and it made this big gurgling noises, so I'm leaning away from it this time to try and not get that. This has been an incredible stream. It has spooled way up. Let's see what we got here. Dang it. Yeah, we're doing great. All right. If you haven't done it yet, hit the thumbs up for the video. And if you haven't left a comment, drop a comment. Say something. If it's nothing more than just, a thumbs up or good morning, say hi, The YouTube likes the activity, and it'll share it if it sees the activity is big. It'll let people know. But yeah, themes and projects are a great thing. Honestly, JB is saying he needs to make a website for his photos. Any recommendations? I use Squarespace for my personal stuff, and I like it. I honestly do. It's really easy to use. Now, something I have learned over the years, don't upload the images full res to the website. Down res them to like 600 by 800 somewhere. I would say 800 on the big side. If you do panos, I don't know. It's kind of hard to share panos on a web page. It really is. But, yeah, I know, Woody. I'm just right there at the precipice. 7,000 long, slow, hard-earned subscribers. But I do like Squarespace because it's easy to work with. Now, the mobile app, ever since they came out with an update about 2 years ago, it's broken on the iPhone. And it has to do with editing blogs. I was writing my blogs on my phone while I would be like waiting in line and stuff. I can type my blogs or even do voice to text and type them. But now, when I go to my blog on Squarespace on the iPhone, I don't know if it's the same on Android, but it is on iPhone. When you go into the edit the blog post function, it pushes it out. It's like the aspect ratio is wider than the display on the phone, and you can't see some of the text. It's off the screen on both sides. I've even told their customer support, and nothing's changed. So I keep waiting on it for an update. On the desktop, it works perfectly, and probably on iPad, it's fine. I haven't tried it because I don't like iPads. I'm personally not an iPad guy. But on notebooks and desktop, I like Squarespace. Is it that much? It's about $15 a month. So yeah, it's about that, isn't it? You can get a discount code from about any YouTuber that'll get you a discount on the first year, I think it is. I think I used Peter McKinnon, if you don't know the truth, back from 2016 or 17 or whenever I first got on YouTube. But yeah, I don't like the one our business website's built with. It's not Squarespace, it's the other one. Crud. Now I can't remember it. But I do like Squarespace a lot. Yeah, all websites run you about anywhere from $12 to $20 a month, depending on what you want. And I don't have the commerce enabled on mine either, if you haven't noticed. I did have a page with some images for sale, but no one ever bought them, so I think I took all that down. I may put it back up. I did some test prints through a company called Nations Photo Lab. Pictures were gorgeous. They used really nice Fuji archival paper. It's in here somewhere. I did one of the photos that was real colorful from WordPress. That's the other one, yeah. And that's what we use for our business site. And WordPress works, and it's very powerful, but it's real techy. It's not real user-friendly. You got to know a little bit about web design to understand what you're doing with it. You can kind of get by. Like, we do some of our own edits, and it's simple stuff. But like the whole e-commerce thing is so complex. We have an IT guy that we have a contract with. He helps us with it because it's just complicated. Yeah, I like Squarespace better. WordPress is complex. You need to understand web development to use Squarespace effectively. They really should work on that. But like I said, it's very powerful. There's a lot you can do, like so much. Let's see. I'm looking at. I wonder if he can beat Peter Gregg's record. LS live stream time. There is no way. I've seen some of his streams hit 8 hours. It's like, no, dude, I can't touch that. We're not even at 2 hours on this stream yet. Man, he has hit some marathons on them streams. I don't understand how he does it. Don't do it during the Packers-Bears game. Double G and me might not be available. I need enough content to make it last. My record is 2.5 hours. Wow. You went 2.5 hours on a stream. That's impressive. Through Joe's Lens says he uses Zenfolio, but that's gotten more expensive over the last couple of years as well. Oh, they're talking about, I think they're talking about a road up north that they closed for snow. I can see it now. Yeah, that's been awesome. Let me see. Is there anything else that I can know? There's nothing really in the news about cameras and photography that I'm aware of. YouTube's doing this thing called a rewind. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's where they take a bunch of your videos and build some kind of collage with them or something. Or maybe it's up to the creator to do it. I don't normally do those. I've enjoyed the stream. Got to run. See everyone later. See you, Ron. I was about to wrap things up here too. So you ain't going to miss much. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Like I said, today's weapon of choice is going to be the Leica CL with the TT Artisan's 35mm f/0.95 lens. Highly recommend both of those. The CL can only be had used now. They've stopped production on them. Still, I love this little camera. And this is an L mount 095 lens, which is pretty rare from what I can tell. They make them in Z mount. They make them in all the mounts. This lens would be great on a ZF, or not a ZF, well, on a ZF too, but like especially on a Z52. That would be a great little combination. Can you start the first 47 minutes over? I missed it. It'll upload to YouTube, and then when it turns into a video, you can see it then. Goodbye, Jacob. Thank you for coming to the stream. Y'all guys have a wonderful day. But yeah. Yes, it works perfectly. Awesome. I'll clean it up good before I take it out today. But yeah, you guys, until next time, get your camera out. No matter what kind it is. And just go take some pictures with it, all right? So until then, we'll see y'all later. Bye-bye. And now I got to do the thing where I turn off the stream. I think it's